humanity had always dreamed of the stars. For centuries, astronomers searched the heavens, scientists built increasingly powerful telescopes, and philosophers debated the possibility of intelligent life beyond Earth. Some imagined a future of friendship among the stars. Others feared invasion. Countless stories were written about first contact, none of them came close to the truth. When the aliens finally reached Earth, they didn't arrive as conquerors, explorers, or diplomats. They arrived as garbage. The object appeared without warning. At first, observatories believed it was a rogue asteroid entering the solar system. It was massive, moving at extraordinary speed, and on a direct course toward Earth. Governments immediately activated emergency response plans. Militaries around the world prepared for a potential extinction-level impact. Then something strange happened. The object changed course. Not much. Just enough to prove it wasn't a natural object. Within hours, every major telescope on Earth was focused on it. The images stunned the scientific community. The object was artificial. It was a spacecraft, a gigantic spacecraft, more than 7 kilometers long. Its hull was scarred and broken. Massive sections appeared ripped apart. Entire segments looked burned and shattered. It seemed ancient, damaged beyond repair, and completely lifeless. Still, it was undeniably alien. Humanity's first proof that they were not alone. The ship plunged through Earth's atmosphere above the Pacific Ocean, glowing like a second sun. It struck the ocean with catastrophic force, generating enormous waves and shaking coastlines thousands of kilometers away. For 3 days, the world waited. Nothing happened. No attack, no communication, no signs of life. Only silence. Eventually, international recovery teams approached the wreckage. What they discovered would change human history forever. The ship was dead. Its crew had been dead for centuries. Frozen alien bodies remained trapped within collapsed corridors and ruined compartments. Every indication suggested the vessel had been abandoned long before it ever reached Earth, but the biggest revelation came from the surviving computer systems. The ship had not crashed accidentally. It had been thrown away. Discarded. According to partially recovered records, the vessel had been part of a failed military program. Its creators considered it a useless waste of resources. Rather than repair it, they launched it into deep space as scrap. For hundreds of years it drifted through the galaxy. Eventually, it found Earth. Humanity's greatest discovery was literally someone else's trash. The irony became legendary. Governments immediately secured the wreckage. Scientists from every nation worked together to study the technology. What they found inside exceeded their wildest expectations. The ship contained technologies centuries beyond human capabilities. Fusion reactors that produced nearly limitless energy, artificial gravity systems, advanced medical technology, materials stronger than steel, and lighter than carbon fiber. Manufacturing systems capable of building almost anything, even damaged and incomplete. The discoveries transformed civilization. Within 20 years, fossil fuels became obsolete. Within 30 years, most diseases were cured. Within 40 years, poverty nearly disappeared across much of the world. Humanity entered a golden age unlike anything in its history, yet the most important discovery remained hidden. Buried deep within the wreckage, waiting, it was found by Dr. Elena Reyes. Elena was an engineer specializing in propulsion systems. Her team had spent months excavating a sealed section near the center of the ship. When they finally opened the chamber, they discovered thousands of glowing crystal structures surrounding a perfectly black sphere. The moment Elena touched it, everything changed. The crystals activated. Ancient systems awakened. Information flooded directly into her mind. For hours she remained unconscious. When she finally awoke, she carried knowledge no human being had ever possessed. The sphere contained an archive. A complete record of the species that built the ship. They called themselves the Carthari. For centuries, researchers worked to decode the information Elena had received. The archive revealed a civilization that had once ruled thousands of star systems. The Carthari were ancient beyond imagination. They had mastered interstellar travel, artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and technologies humanity could barely comprehend. Yet, despite their power, they had fallen. Guided by an enemy, the archive called them the Devourers. No one knew exactly what the Devourers were, only that they consumed civilizations, entire star systems vanished before them. Planets disappeared. Fleets were annihilated. The mighty Carthari Empire fought for centuries before ultimately collapsing. The ship that reached Earth had been one of countless desperate projects, created, during their final years, a failed prototype. A forgotten experiment, a piece of junk. But for humanity, it was a treasure beyond value. Most importantly, the archive contained complete technological schematics. Not fragments, not damaged files. Complete blueprints. Humanity suddenly possessed thousands of years of scientific knowledge. Everything changed. Construction projects began across the solar system, gigantic orbital shipyards appeared above Earth. Mining colonies expanded throughout the asteroid belt. Factories spread across Mars, automated drones harvested resources from distant moons. For the first time, humanity looked outward not with hope, but with confidence. The stars were finally within reach. 72 years after the arrival of the alien wreck, the first human faster-than-light vessel launched from orbit, the ship was named Horizon. Millions watched. Billions celebrated. When the vessel successfully jumped to another star system, human civilization entered a new era. The age of interstellar exploration had begun. The expansion happened rapidly. Within decades, colonies spread across dozens of worlds. Within a century, hundreds, new cities rose beneath alien skies, new cultures emerged, new industries flourished. Humanity transformed from a single-planet species into a stellar civilization. For 200 years, everything seemed perfect. Then the warning arrived. The message came from a remote exploration vessel, operating near the edge of charted space. Its transmission contained a simple report: unknown vessels detected, massive fleet formations, impossible energy readings, and a symbol matching records from the Carthari archive, the Devourers. The room fell silent when military analysts confirmed the evidence: the ancient enemy still existed. And they were approaching human territory. Panic spread through emergency councils convened. Military leaders studied centuries-old Carthari battle records. Scientists analyzed every available piece of information. The conclusions were horrifying. The Devourers had destroyed thousands of civilizations. No known species had ever defeated them. Entire empires had vanished. Now they were coming toward humanity. President Marcus Hale addressed the Stellar Assembly. His speech was broadcast across hundreds of worlds. We inherited knowledge from a fallen civilization. We learned from their victories. We learned from their failures. Now history presents us with a choice. We can surrender to fear, or we can fight for our future. Humanity chose to fight. The largest military buildup in history began immediately. Shipyards operated around the clock. Factories produced weapons at unprecedented rates. Research teams worked tirelessly to improve Carthari technologies. Entire planets converted their economies to support the coming conflict, yet humanity possessed one advantage the Carthari never had. Time. The Devourers were still years away. Every month allowed humanity to grow stronger. Scientists developed new reactor designs. Engineers improved shield systems. Artificial intelligence coordinated production networks spanning hundreds of worlds. Military strategists studied every battle recorded in the archive. Humanity prepared for war. 5 years later, the Devourers arrived. The first battle occurred in the Helios system. Human scouts reported thousands of enemy vessels emerging from hyperspace. The Devourer fleet was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Their ships appeared almost organic. Black structures covered in shifting patterns. Massive weapons protruded from their surfaces. They moved with terrifying precision. The defending human fleet engaged immediately. The battle lasted 12 hours. When it ended, Helios was lost. The surviving ships retreated. Humanity had suffered its first major defeat, but something unexpected happened. The Devourers also suffered losses, not many, but enough. For the first time in recorded history, evidence suggested they could be hurt. The news spread rapidly. Hope returned. The enemy was not invincible. Over the next 3 years, war consumed the frontier. System after system became battlegrounds. entire fleets clashed among the stars. Both sides suffered enormous losses, yet humanity adapted faster than the Devourers expected. Every battle generated new data, every defeat produced new strategies. Human engineers continuously improved ship designs. Artificial intelligence analyzed combat records in real time. Military commanders learned from every encounter. Gradually, the balance began to shift. Then came the discovery that changed everything. Deep within the original alien archive, researchers uncovered a hidden section previously believed corrupted. The files described a secret Carthari project. A weapon, not a conventional weapon, a technological network designed to amplify the power of entire fleets. The Carthari had never completed it. Their empire collapsed before construction finished. Human scientists realized they possessed something the Carthari lacked. The original failed ship, the very vessel discarded centuries earlier, it contained experimental systems directly related to the unfinished project. Suddenly, humanity understood why the archive had been hidden. The ship wasn't merely a failed prototype, it was a key, a missing piece. The discarded vessel contained technology capable of linking thousands of ships into a single, coordinated combat network. Power generation, shield harmonization, weapon synchronization, everything amplified exponentially. For decades, engineers worked to recreate the system. Now they raced to finish it. The war intensified. Devourer fleets pushed deeper into human territory. Entire colonies were evacuated. Billions fled toward core worlds. Humanity stood on the edge of disaster. Then the network activated. The first test occurred during the Battle of Orion Gate. 3,000 human warships linked together. Instantly, their effectiveness multiplied. Weapons struck with unprecedented accuracy. Shields reinforced one another. Fleet coordination approached perfection. The results shocked everyone. A Devourer armada nearly twice their size was destroyed. The victory electrified human space. For the first time, the enemy retreated. Humanity seized the initiative. Counter-offensives launched across dozens of systems. New fleets entered service. Every month, the network technology spread rapidly. What began as a desperate experiment became standard military doctrine. The tide of war turned. Years passed. Battle followed battle. System followed system. Slowly, relentlessly, humanity pushed forward. Eventually, scouts discovered the source of the invasion and a massive Devourer stronghold hidden beyond explored space. The structure dwarfed planets. Millions of enemy vessels protected it. Analysis suggested it served as both command center and manufacturing hub. Eating it might end the war. The risk was enormous. Failure would doom humanity. Successes could save civilization. The Stellar Assembly approved the operation unanimously. Every major fleet was recalled. Every available ship participated. Humanity gathered the largest armada in its history. More than 100,000 warships, millions of personnel, countless support vessels. The final battle began beneath the light of a dying star. The Devourers met the human fleet with overwhelming force. Space itself seemed to burn. Weapons capable of shattering moons illuminated the darkness. Entire formations vanished in seconds. Thousands died every minute. Still, humanity advanced. The network technology connected the fleet into a unified whole. Every ship fought as part of something larger. Hours became days, days became weeks. Neither side retreated. Finally, a path opened. A small strike force led by Admiral Sarah Okafor penetrated the defensive perimeter and reached the central structure. What they discovered shocked them. The Devourers were not a species. They were machines, ancient machines, self-replicating weapons created by a forgotten civilization millions of years earlier. Their creators had vanished long ago. Only the machines remained, still following their final command. Expand, consume, eliminate resistance. The war that destroyed the Carthari had never truly ended. The machines simply continued endlessly. Admiral Okafor understood immediately. Dying individual fleets would never be enough. The Central Intelligence had to die. Her strike force fought through impossible resistance. One ship after another fell. Eventually, only her flagship remained. Heavily damaged, barely operational. But close enough. Okafor transmitted one final message. Tell humanity the stars belong to the living. Then she activated every remaining reactor. The resulting explosion illuminated an entire solar system. The central intelligence vanished. The Devourer network collapsed instantly. Across thousands of battlefields, enemy vessels drifted lifelessly through space. The war was over. Humanity had won. Celebrations erupted across known space. Worlds that had prepared for extinction rejoiced. Monuments were built. Heroes were remembered. History changed forever. Years later, historians reflected on the incredible chain of events that had saved civilization. Everything traced back to a single moment: a forgotten alien empire, a failed project, a discarded spacecraft drifting through space, someone else's garbage. The Carthari had considered the vessel worthless. Humanity saw possibility. From broken metal and ancient ruins, humanity built a civilization among the stars. From the ashes of a fallen empire, they forged a future. And from a ship thrown away as junk, they became one of the greatest powers the galaxy had ever known. The stars no longer represented its mystery, they represented home. Humanity had inherited the ruins of the past. But unlike those who came before, they refused to become another forgotten chapter in galactic history. The galaxy would remember them, not as survivors, not as inheritors, but as the civilization that took the ashes of failure and transformed them into a future, written among the stars.